I never thought my high school would be the setting for the most terrifying experience of my life. It all began innocently enough, during the final weeks of senior year. Our school, an aging building with creaking floors and dimly lit hallways, was rumored to be haunted. But like any teenager, I dismissed those stories as mere urban legends. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, casting elongated shadows across the empty hallways, my friends and I decided to play a harmless prank. We had heard about a hidden basement beneath the gym, a place forbidden to students. The legend went that it used to be a fallout shelter during the Cold War, and no one dared to enter it since. Armed with flashlights, we sneaked into the gym after dark, laughing nervously as we descended the narrow staircase leading to the basement. The air grew colder, and a musty odor surrounded us. The dim light from our flashlights revealed dusty shelves filled with forgotten supplies and old textbooks. The atmosphere was eerie, but we dismissed it as the typical creepiness associated with abandoned places. As we explored further, we stumbled upon an old filing room tucked away in a corner. The room was filled with dusty, decaying paperwork. We sifted through the papers, discovering forgotten class rosters and ancient disciplinary reports. That's when I found a file with my name on it. It contained detailed records of my academic performance, attendance, and even personal notes about my behavior. Panic set in as I realized that the information in the file was accurate up until that very day. I flipped through the pages, finding entries detailing events that had occurred just hours before. My friends found similar files with their names on them, and a sense of unease settled over us. We decided to leave the basement, but as we climbed the stairs, the air became thick with an oppressive silence. No longer did our footsteps echo in the empty halls. The familiar sounds of the building seemed to have vanished. Unease crept over us, and the once familiar surroundings now felt like an unfamiliar labyrinth. As we reached the main floor, we realized that something was dreadfully wrong. The school, once bustling with life, was now silent and desolate. Lockers stood ajar, textbooks scattered on the floor, and an eerie darkness enveloped the hallways. It was as if time itself had frozen, leaving us trapped in a nightmarish version of our high school. We tried to exit through the main entrance, only to find the heavy double doors mysteriously locked. Panic escalated into terror as we desperately searched for an escape route. The once familiar hallways now seemed to twist and turn, leading us in circles. The oppressive silence was broken only by the distant echoes of our own footsteps. Suddenly, we heard a faint whisper, barely audible over the unnatural stillness. It echoed through the hallways, sending shivers down our spines. The voice seemed to know our names, calling us one by one. Each time it spoke, it drew closer, its malevolent tone sending chills through our souls. We huddled together, fear etched across our faces, as the whispers surrounded us. Shadows danced on the walls, taking on sinister shapes. The air became heavy with a presence that defied explanation. I could feel an unseen force closing in, its intent malicious and foreboding. In a desperate attempt to escape, we ran down the hallways, our footsteps echoing through the abandoned school. The whispers grew louder, more insistent, until they reached a deafening crescendo. Suddenly, the lights flickered, and the temperature plummeted. In the blink of an eye, the school transformed into an otherworldly realm, a nightmarish dimension beyond our comprehension. As we stood paralyzed in fear, a figure emerged from the shadows. Its form was indistinct, a dark silhouette that seemed to absorb what little light remained. The whispers ceased, replaced by an unnerving silence. The figure advanced slowly, its malevolent gaze fixed upon us. And then, with a gut-wrenching realization, I understood. We had crossed a boundary, stumbled upon a realm between the living and the dead. The school was a vessel for something beyond our understanding, and we had unwittingly become intruders in a supernatural domain. The figure reached out, its touch sending a wave of icy dread through my veins. As the darkness consumed us, I couldn't help but wonder if our ill-fated prank had unleashed forces that should have remained undisturbed. We were trapped in a nightmarish reality, where the line between the living and the dead blurred, and the haunting whispers of the past claimed us as their own. The chill of a late autumn evening settled over Greenwood High School as I reluctantly stepped into the empty corridors. Detention was never a pleasant experience, but this time it felt different. The air was thick with an unsettling tension, and the dim glow of flickering fluorescent lights cast eerie shadows on the cold linoleum floor. My punishment was to clean the neglected storage room on the third floor, a room rumored to be cursed by the lingering presence of a deceased janitor. As I gathered my cleaning supplies, I couldn't shake the feeling that someone, or something, was watching me. The storage room was tucked away in a desolate corner, and as I swung the creaky door open, a musty odor greeted me. Old books, broken furniture, and forgotten relics from decades past cluttered the space. My task was to organize this forgotten repository, but as I worked, the temperature in the room seemed to drop, and a sense of dread settled over me. Amidst the dust-covered items, I discovered an ancient yearbook from the 1960s. The faded pages featured the faces of students who had long since moved on from high school life. However, one face caught my attention, a janitor named Elias Morton. The accompanying caption revealed that Elias had tragically died in the storage room under mysterious circumstances. The legend surrounding Elias Morton's death had always been a subject of gossip among the students. Some claimed he had been murdered, while others believed it was a tragic accident. As I delved deeper into the yearbook, I found myself captivated by Elias's story. As I turned the pages, the flickering lights cast a spectral glow on the images. Suddenly, the yearbook seemed to come alive. The students' faces contorted into expressions of anguish, their eyes following my every movement. The room pulsated with an otherworldly energy, and the air became heavy with a presence that defied explanation. Startled, I dropped the yearbook, and its pages flapped open to reveal an article about Elias's untimely demise. The words seemed to writhe on the page, forming a chilling message: he seeks justice. A cold shiver ran down my spine as I realized that Elias Morton's spirit might be trapped in the storage room, yearning for resolution. Determined to uncover the truth, I searched for clues that would appease the restless janitor. As I sifted through the dusty artifacts, a spectral voice whispered in the air, guiding me to a forgotten corner of the room. There, hidden beneath a pile of decaying newspapers, I found a rusted key. Instinctively, I knew it unlocked a long-forgotten door in the storage room. As I turned the key in the lock, the room seemed to come alive with a surge of energy. The air crackled with anticipation, and a soft glow emanated from the mysterious door. With trepidation, I pushed the door open, revealing a hidden passageway that led to a forgotten part of the school. The narrow corridor was adorned with faded murals depicting the tragic events of Elias Morton's death. As I walked deeper into the shadows, the temperature dropped, and the air echoed with ghostly whispers. At the end of the corridor, I found a small room filled with mementos from Elias's life, old photographs, handwritten letters, and a dusty mop that once belonged to the janitor. It was here that I felt a gentle touch on my shoulder, as if Elias himself was acknowledging my presence. The room filled with a warm, golden light, and the oppressive tension lifted. The whispers ceased, and a sense of peace settled over the storage room. As I exited, I glanced back at the mysterious door, now closed and concealed once again. Detention had turned into a haunting journey, unraveling the mysteries of Greenwood High School's past. Elias Morton's spirit, once trapped in the shadows, had found solace and justice. And as I walked away from the storage room, I couldn't shake the feeling that the echoes of the past had finally found closure, leaving the halls of Greenwood High School in a newfound serenity. The autumn air hung heavy with a damp chill as I made my way to Hillcrest High School, a sprawling institution that bore the weight of decades in its aging walls. The crimson leaves crunched beneath my sneakers as I approached the entrance, a sense of foreboding settling over me. It was just another ordinary day, or so I thought. Classes had been dismissed early due to a burst water pipe flooding the lower floors. As I roamed the empty hallways, I couldn't help but notice the disconcerting silence that clung to the air like a sinister whisper. The only sounds were the distant hum of fluorescent lights and the occasional creak of an old floorboard beneath my feet. My footsteps echoed through the empty corridors as I made my way to the school library, seeking refuge from the eerie stillness. The library, a dimly lit enclave of faded books and worn-out furniture, offered a haven of solitude. Or so I believed. As I immersed myself in the pages of a forgotten novel, a soft murmur interrupted the silence. At first, I dismissed it as the distant echoes of a janitor's conversation or the settling of the old building. But as the murmurs grew louder, they transformed into distinct whispers, carrying words that sent a chill down my spine. "Help us." The plea was barely audible, yet it reverberated through the hallowed halls of Hillcrest. I glanced around, half expecting to see a fellow student playing a prank, but the library remained empty. The whispers persisted, weaving through the air like ghostly tendrils. Compelled by an inexplicable curiosity, I followed the spectral whispers, their source leading me to the basement, an area normally off-limits to students. The stairs creaked beneath my weight as I descended into the dimly lit abyss below. The basement, a labyrinth of forgotten storage rooms and dusty archives, seemed to stretch endlessly into the darkness. The whispers guided me through the maze until I reached a door with peeling paint and a tarnished brass knob. The whispers intensified, urging me to open it. With a hesitant hand, I turned the knob, revealing a room frozen in time. Dust-covered desks, ancient textbooks, and tattered posters adorned the space, as if it had been untouched for years. But what caught my attention were the faded class photographs lining the walls, faces of students long gone, their eyes seeming to follow my every move. As I gazed at the photographs, the whispers coalesced into sorrowful voices, recounting tales of unfinished dreams and untimely departures. The room pulsated with the energy of forgotten ambitions, as if the souls of these students lingered, tethered to the memories trapped within these walls. One photograph, in particular, drew me in, a group of students from the 1970s, their smiles frozen in time. Among them, a girl named Emily stood out, her eyes pleading for recognition. The whispers intensified, revealing the tragic story of a fire that had consumed the school decades ago. In that moment, I became a conduit for the voices of the forgotten. The students, victims of the long-buried tragedy, sought solace and release from the shackles of their unfinished stories. Emily, the spectral leader, implored me to uncover the truth, to bring closure to the souls trapped within the haunted halls of Hillcrest High. Guided by their ethereal whispers, I delved into the archives, unearthing newspaper clippings and eyewitness accounts of the long-forgotten fire. The tragedy had been overshadowed by time, buried beneath layers of bureaucratic paperwork and the collective amnesia of a community eager to move on. As I pieced together the fragments of the past, the spirits in the basement stirred with a newfound energy. The whispers transformed into a chorus of gratitude, their spectral presence acknowledging my efforts to unearth the truth. Yet, the air remained charged with an unsettling energy, as if the very fabric of reality trembled with the weight of the revelations. Armed with the knowledge of the past, I returned to the basement, where the spectral voices guided me to a forgotten memorial hidden beneath layers of dust. The memorial, dedicated to the students who perished in the fire, bore witness to the tragedy that had been erased from collective memory. As I uncovered the memorial, a surge of ethereal light enveloped the room. The whispers faded into a melancholic serenity, and the photographs lining the walls seemed to regain a sense of peace. The basement, once a haunting chamber of unresolved stories, transformed into a sanctuary where the spirits of Hillcrest High School found solace. With a final glance at the now serene room, I ascended the stairs, leaving the basement behind. The whispers had dissipated, replaced by an eerie silence that clung to the air like the remnants of a vanquished ghost. Hillcrest High School, once haunted by the echoes of the forgotten, stood in quiet reverence, as if acknowledging the closure brought about by a curious student willing to listen to the voices of the past.